Hi guys, so I feel like this one's a big one for multiple reasons. And if there's gonna be outside noises, there's not much I can do about that. But so my first card, and this is from the Goddess Within Oracle. And I have to tell you, I didn't want to use this card for some reason. I wasn't seeing the connection. I was like, I don't really want to do this. And against my better judgment, I just wasn't feeling it for some reason. So I put it back, and then I pulled some other cards, and then something told me, well, okay, now try it again. And she came out again. And then, so then I'm like, okay. And then I pulled some other cards, and it just didn't feel right. And then on my last pull, she came out again, because I said, okay, Spirit, if this comes out one more time, then this is the card. And now I know why. So, sometimes, self-doubt is kind of a tool to kind of show us that, we are getting messages. I guess that's where I'm going for that. But, so Thetis. So Thetis, in this book, her message, there's like a little message in the beginning, and it says, use your beliefs as stepping stones, never allowing them to be set in stone. Just as you were molded into your current beliefs, you hold the power to shift out of them. And I'll explain later, like in context, why this makes sense to me. But in Greek mythology, she is the goddess. She was a sea nymph, and she was a shapeshifter, and she had the gift of prophecy. And she was, dating Zeus, I guess, courted by Zeus. And then she prophesied that her son would be stronger than his father, would be greater than his father. And not liking this, Zeus forced her to marry a mortal man. And, through all these different things, she had tried to, evade him by shape-shifting, things like that. And then her son actually ended up being Achilles. And long story short, her story really talks about how, we kind of feel like there is, things that are set in stone, and they really aren't. Even when it comes to things like destiny and prophecy and things like that, and especially with our belief systems, this card means a lot to me because it is a deep part of who I am, is taking parts of like belief systems that I learn along the way and seeing how they fit in my life. And it sounds kind of like I'm taking pieces and parts and just doing what feels right to me, but honestly, isn't that kind of what it's supposed to be about? I acknowledge that there is something that I've now decided, for purposes, I might call it the undefined. But I feel it. I know it's there. And lately I'm feeling it a lot. But at the same time, our belief structures that we grow up with and things around us, those are things that kind of mold us into what our society is like, what our surroundings are like, what our family structures are like. And they don't have to stick that way, because a lot of times those are based on, their family before them or their community before them's beliefs. And a lot of times those are just things that, people put their own perceptions on. And also, like with the shape-shifting with her, the fact that she had the ability to prophesize, and then shape-shifting. So I feel like that's kind of like saying our intuition kind of gives us that ability to adapt, right? Those are the things that, like, when we feel something out, we can kind of adapt something different. And just like today, when I went to go pull a card, I ended up pulling the same card 3 times. And what that did was it solidified for me, even though I was self-doubting, but it solidified for me that this was supposed to come out. So it caused me to dig a little bit deeper in myself and get the message that is trying to come out, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go to the tarot. And this deck is the Otherkin tarot. I love this deck. She does like minimalist watercolor, and I just like the way she, each suit has kind of like a theme. And there's a lot of water in here. And mermaids, heavy on the mermaids. So if somebody has like some type of symbolism with mermaids, or maybe that means something to you. But to me, it feels like, because there's like this flowy, transition and kind of like that feminine energy when it comes to water. Um, and when I say genders, I'm just using the energy. I'm not saying male, female, or he, she, they, whatever. It's, what it feels like to you. That part of yourself that's kind of tapping into that more feminine side. Okay, and so my first row is kind of with the energy, whoever this resonates with, whether it be collectively or personally or a situation. So we have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups can be, nostalgia. It can also be, you know, things from your past. And there's children normally on the card, and there's children in this card. So that can also be like children. Maybe somebody has children, or maybe it kind of feels like a generational thing. I feel like this is saying that there's something that, especially with the Knight of Swords here, but this very much feels like almost kind of like ancestor type of like messages. I mean, as I don't know, as cliche as it sounds, that's just what it feels like. It feels like there's something that, whether it's a gift that we have, or it's something that, we're something that's trying to come to us in a message from our past, whether it be your childhood, your recent past, or for me with this feels very like ancient past. This feels like something that is deep within us that we are trying to get these messages out, or somebody or something is trying to give these messages to us. And then in my second row is usually my row of what we need to work on, whether it be good or bad. It's something that needs to be our focus. And this is the Chariot and the Knight of Wands. So we have two knights in a row. So these are like something that is like it's action. So actively getting these messages and actively pursuing this chariot energy. So there's like a balanced and very passionate forward movement, I feel like. And I feel like as something we need to focus on, I think, channeling that energy in a positive way, not getting ourselves overextended and getting lost with the force of this, because I feel like this is definitely something that's coming in strong. At least I'm feeling it. I think it's because of all these planets in retrograde. But I was born with most of these planets that are in retrograde. So who knows? Um, but I feel like, regarding this, I feel like we really want, to take these things and go with it. And I feel like, especially like when you get these kind of hits and you get like this aha moments, and you get these closeness with the connection, and you get it, like, instantly we're like little kids and we freak out and we want to, like, go with it. But I think we're kind of being asked to kind of temper that a little bit, balance that passion and that drive and that momentum in a positive and more balanced way. And then in my third row, that is usually like the resources we have around us, the things that we can work with, the energy, whether it's ours or somebody else's, planetary alignments, things like that. And I feel like with this being the moon and the Seven of Cups, again, there's that water energy. And this being things that we can use around us, I think it's more saying, because a lot of times the Seven of Cups can kind of be confusion. And so can't the moon. More like delusion in a way. But I feel like, especially when Neptune is kind of going into retrograde. Now it's in Aries and it's going to be going into Pisces again for a little bit. But that energy, I think, is kind of saying that we need to kind of use that time. Because sometimes, that adaptability, that ability to shapeshift, just like that balance, sometimes we need to kind of allow that delulu, as all the cool kids say, to kind of allow us to give up these structured beliefs that we think, oh, this can't happen, right? So like today, when I picked that card, I was like, okay, if it comes out a third time, then this was meant to be, and I'm not going to question it. And I don't want to do that again. I don't want to be like, hey, I don't trust your spirit, so I'm going to. But for some reason, that had to happen, because it kind of it goes into this message. But I feel like we're being kind of gifted with these 7 cups, right? And the octopus is holding them, and it's kind of like, we're being gifted this delusionary type of state right now. It's like the veil is thin. I feel like we're being asked to kind of like allow that and not go full force and hard like the Knight of Wands, not to go passionately, but gently. I feel like we're supposed to kind of allow this energy to kind of guide us. There's this gift, these are gifts that we're being given, and it could be that there's possibilities too. There's many possibilities in this. So I don't know. And also I just want to mention, like, I had like blue iris come up out of nowhere yesterday for me, and then it came up again today. And I just wanted to mention that if that means anything to anybody, there you go. I don't know. It doesn't normally happen to me, but again, I'm allowing myself to release those constraints and allowing the mysteries of the water energy, right, to kind of captivate me, but in a more relaxed and allowing way. That's how I wanted to say that. And then in my last row, so the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is kind of like working hard, but it's not working hard for no reason, right? There is something that has come out of it. A lot of times, if you guys follow Minopath Tarot, Minopon Tarot, he says it all the time, and I get it all the time in my Aries readings, and he'll say that is like, looking back and saying to yourself, hey, I've come a long way. And we have. And with the Queen of Cups on the bottom, this is a very empathetic and passionate and compassionate and intuitive and psychic queen. So this is, again, it's saying, we've got this far, trust your intuition. Big, big, big on trusting your intuition and allowing ourselves to step into those spaces, right? Don't let people walk all over you, but at the same time, trust those inner feelings, right? I really feel like that's a part of it. And have that compassion and empathy for other people. You don't have to let people, again, walk all over you or allow bad behavior, but you can also see people where they are, right? So I feel like this is definitely saying that, there's something that our past and our ancestors are trying to tell us about being adaptable and allowing this part of us, this innate knowledge and natural, born in heritage of intuition and spirituality that people have tried to cover up for so many years, right? We have two Moonology oracles, and we have with full moon in Aries with a fiery climax. And yeah, I definitely feel that. I feel like with Aries right now, and I'm not just saying that because I'm an Aries, I just feel like this is kind of a thing for us Aries for some reason. It's like the beginning, right? I always feel like because my sun is in in Aries and my moon is in Pisces, there's like this beginning and end feeling with me, like this alpha omega that I have to try to figure out. But this is like, I think we're at the beginning of this new era of passionate and more direct spirituality, where we don't sweep it under the rug, right? We allow it to happen, and we're out there, and it is more driven. But I also feel like we're supposed to be balancing it in a gentle way. And then we have Capricorn with, this is the end of a real heavy cycle, and this is a full moon in Capricorn, which is coming up. So I feel like there's a lot of Saturn energy, and with Saturn going to retrograde the 17th. I feel like this is also a big time for reflecting on karmic patterns, things that, the lessons that we've had to learn, our purpose. Because Saturn is a teacher, right? Saturn is that teacher. And I feel like this is huge right now. So maybe this next full moon is something that's really going to be kind of huge for people. I honestly feel like it because we have all these planets in retrograde right now. And retrograde is about reflecting and kind of going inward on these things. But it doesn't have to be a bad thing. A lot of times that can give you the time, especially like Mercury retrograde. It kind of gives you that excuse to kind of take that time to slow down and look at things a little bit clearer and get some clarity. And so we go to the Herbal Astrology Oracle with number 34, Mitragina, which I probably am saying that wrong, but that is essentially Kratom. And upright, it means subconscious healing, synchronizing inner and outer worlds, shape-shifting time travel, and transcendence of illusion. And I feel like too, like this illusion here, it's not the illusion of being Delulu in spirit. It's saying that, the delusion that we have to like, do things a certain way. It's like the delusion of people telling us that no, that's not the right way to be. It's our own beliefs. It's the delusion that everybody else telling you what to believe is right. I feel like we're really being called to kind of tap into that energy of our own sovereignty, our own beliefs, and our own spirituality. And on this card, there are mountains, which mountains, and water, um, just like that spiritual path and that spiritual journey. And then there's also dragonflies. And this is Saturn and Neptune again. Saturn goes retrograde on the 17th, and then we have Saturn, Pluto, and Mercury in retrograde, I believe, coming up. All of those will be, and some of them are. So that's a lot of reflection in that area. That's reflection in transformation, reflection in like our thought process. It's in our communication. That's reflection on our teachings, our lessons, our karmic path, all that stuff, our destinies. It's also our work. It's a reflection on how we approach our spirituality. So it's huge. There's a huge stuff happening right now. And I'm just going to read like this one little part. It's the guidance, and it says the balance side of Mitrajana, I always say that wrong, but whatever, represents the ability to shapeshift and adapt across realities, like the dragonfly. So maybe dragonflies do mean something to you. Mitrajana grants us the power to break through illusionary facade, and we often accept as reality, providing us the freedom from pain in order to break through the limiting illusions. Yes, the illusions are not... I don't feel like the illusions are like, what we think of as illusions, as like being too spaced out or being too tapped in, that type of thing. I think the illusion is the limits we're putting on ourselves greatly. And then my next card is Amanita. And yeah, conduit. I definitely feel like that's why this is happening. It's kind of like we're being asked, or maybe this is somebody, or collectively, I feel like there's a time where we need to honestly be a conduit from our ancestors to our future generations, to the people now. I mean, that's like we are a conduit from earth to spirit. It's like the middle world, right? In shamanism. I feel like this is really being ingrained in us to kind of pass this knowledge on that we have deep down, and some of us can tap in and some of us can't. And we all tap in differently, and we all have different messages, but the core message is that it is within all of us. And again, like the planets, it's just crazy. I'm sorry, I get all excited about things like this, but it's Neptune, Pluto, and Mercury, right? Okay. I like all those planets like are going in retrograde. I think Pluto is, isn't it? I believe so, yes. So you got that. And then upright is a conduit, channel bridger of realities, connection to higher power, celebration, coming home, family, and awakening. Yes, I feel like we're coming home to what our truth really is. I don't know if it'll happen in our time, but I honestly feel like it's something that we are bringing in. And I hope this means something to you. All over again. It's kind of difficult during the week because I do work. So a lot of times I kind of do recording a little bit differently. But hopefully, I can find a better system and get a little bit organized. But I appreciate all of you. And thank you so much for all that you guys have been commenting and appreciating me. And it means a lot. And I thank you.